Greetings synth nerds, so I thought I'd show you around my rig that I'm using at the moment for a tour. It's with an artist called Purple Disco Machine. I've played on most of his records, so when he asked me to come out and support his new record on tour, I jumped at the chance. It's real good fun stuff, and it's something a bit different for me because it's a DJ live hybrid show. You know, normally I'm just playing everything live. In this case, he's running a lot of stuff off track. And he's removed certain instruments, so I'm playing those instruments, and I'm just trying to bring some live feel into it. There's me, and there's also Derek, who's over here. He's playing drums.
Yes.
So we're the two live elements in the instruments, and we've also got some singers that are guesting. I'm using a Yamaha Montage 8. I'm not using the Montage M in this case because we're hiring all the keyboards and you can't yet get a Montage M everywhere in the world. So I'm using the older Montage. Connected to that, I've got Melbourne Instruments Nina, which is a beautiful bit of kit. The thing I love about this synth is every time I change patch, you can see that all the knobs change with me. So I can know exactly where I am, which means I can tweak stuff on the fly, which is great. And then I've got the Prophet 10 on top, and the Prophet is going into the Montage. So it's great because it means I can add effects from the Prophet. Obviously the Prophet doesn't have its own effects built in, so I can use the Yamaha Montage effects, and they can be different for every patch. So I'll just show you a couple of the patches. Oh, the other thing I forgot to mention is I've got a vocoder hooked up. That's a Electro Harmonics V256 vocoder, and that goes from the Prophet. So the Prophet goes into the vocoder and back out from the vocoder into the Yamaha. So it's a slightly convoluted rig, but it really works very well. And let me show you a few of the patches. So I've got this track in the dark. This is the first track on the gig. And at the beginning of that, I've got quite a big sound, which comes from Nina, and this is going through a chorus on the Montage. So that's the beginning of the gig, and then the verse is like a synth organ sound. So I've done something fairly clever here, whereas when the mod wheel's down here, I'm using Nina. The mod wheel up, it turns down the volume on Nina and turns the volume up on the Montage, so it morphs into an organ. I've got a split up here, so up here there's some bells. And then for the chorus, back into the big sound. And then for the little breakdown part on this song, I've got another organ type, synth organ patch on this Prophet, and I really like it because it's going through the chorus on the Montage with a delayed chorus, and it gives you this really cool 80s sort of effect. So if you heard that without the chorus, it sounds like this. Super plain. Put in the chorus. So if you want to get that kind of 80s sound, get a delayed chorus on synth, just brings it alive. I'm using the clav a lot on the gig, and that's being triggered with a wire down here. love that. It's cool because it doesn't get in the way too much of the big club sound that we've got going on here, but it just adds the funk, you know, and I can put a bit of my personality into the show without being too much. And that's the key on these sort of gigs, is not obviously being too much. What else am I using? I'm also using my vocoder. A lot of people ask me about how I get my vocoder sounds. If you hear the sound itself, it's super plain, it's just a sawtooth. And I have it so that if I press down, I get vibrato, which is from the LFO here. And what I do is I create a patch whereby this input that comes in here is muted, so you don't hear the synth anymore. And now I'm free to use it as a vocoder.
You and I, all night, with the music. Oh, do that.
And then when I'm using that LFO, it sounds like a singer's, you know, employing vibrato. If the mic stand will stay still.
Just a glance from behind, neither by chance or design.
The vocoder, it also depends what you sing. So like, the tendency is to sing the notes that you're playing, but if you do that and it gets high, it gets really screechy. So you have to try and make a low note sound while you play high. Whereas if I did a high sound, it would sound. So you can kind of control the tone of the vocoder with your voice, even though you're not hearing your voice. And I'm just using it for the odd lick in the song, like the singer's singing, there's a tune called Fireworks, and I'm just jamming along with the lyrics, you know. Another thing I've been quite enjoying is actually, find the patch, using the sound of the synth and the vocoder together. It's not so intelligible, but it's quite cool because it's halfway between a synth and a vocoder, so you can have. You know, so that's quite a cool little effect. What else can I show you? Yeah, a lot of what I'm doing is quite simple, really. I've got a track here, Paradise, which is quite a nice one. I get to play a little bit at the end of that. And I've got a DX7 type piano. What's quite cool here is I'm using Nina and the montage together. So like, for instance, on this sound, this is one, Dopamine. Now we're just hearing the DX. It's a classic DX7 sound, but of course it sounds a little bit thin because FM sounds are. And Tino used a JX3P on his record, and it was kind of a sound very similar to a DX7, but because it was analog, it's a bit warmer. So I decided to use this in conjunction with the DX. So this is more just like a warm sound. It sounds nothing on its own. But when you combine the two, you get this warmer sound. You know, it's got the analog warmth and it's got the digital kind of cut. So I've got another patch that's similar here called Paradise. So I get to kind of play like that at the end of the song. And then up here I've got like a Moog style sound. And I've programmed the Yamaha to bring in reverb on this sound when I press the expression pedal, so I can really swamp it out. So then the two together sound really nice.